It looks like the Clippers just landed on a pot of gold. And you know what I mean by that is, I've been talking about one guy on the Clippers that I thought that, would give them a lot of energy and give them a lot of, everything they need on the floor as far as like switchability and things like that. And the guy I'm talking about is Musa Diabate. I've been saying this guy, to me, ever since I laid eyes on him, I can tell that he had an energy and a spirit about him that, no other player on the Clippers has, and I say that in good regards because when I watch him play, for the very minimal minutes that I've watched him, he's been back and forth to the G League, back and forth. But when I watch this young guy play, I see, a very intense, very high energy guy who gives them a different edge to me. You know what I'm saying? When you have a guy like that, I feel like he definitely needs to find the floor a lot more, and he can definitely give them great minutes. And, honestly, looking at his defensive part of his game and the energy and stuff that he brings and the intensity that he has with him, he kind of reminds me of a young Kevin Garnett. And I believe, shout out to one of the, Cali Take members, family, who put that out there to me before. Shout out to them for that, because once I thought about it, he really does remind me of, a young Kevin Garnett. He kind of has that same type of spirit. He plays the same type of edge. You know what I'm saying? He can be gritty, and he gets very, very high, high tense as the game goes on, and he can make plays on both ends of the floor. You see what I'm saying? And he definitely is one of those type guys where his presence is definitely felt. And, listening to Ty Lue on SportsIllustrated.com, he basically illustrated the same thing. He said Diabate has been impressive, or has impressed him and others on this team because of his energy, his spirit, and the way he plays out there, and how he goes about playing the game. And Ty Lue even said the same thing. His switchability is good. How he can guard position 1 through 5. He can cause turnovers. He is high voltage on the opposite end of the offense. If you give him opportunities, he can score pretty decent. And he's just not, he's fearless. And that's basically what Ty Lue was saying about this guy. And I believe all that, and I'm 100% on the same page with Ty Lue when it comes to that. This kid is definitely fearless, and he definitely has something about him, I think, that the Clippers are just infectious by. I mean, his presence is infectious. So I feel like the Clippers would be a damn fool not to give this guy more minutes, because I've been saying ever since I seen him in the off-season summer league and everything, I can tell what type of player he can be. And I can tell you, they actually might have a possible star player on their hands if they really actually let this guy develop and allow him to turn into the player that I think he can be. Now, I'm not saying he is a Kevin Garnett, because it's going to take a lot for him to even come remotely close to being somebody like that, because KG is a Hall of Famer. He was a great player. He was an MVP of the league. He was a champion, won championships, been to finals. KG just had a presence about him that I don't think no other big man mimicked. I mean, a lot of people would say back in the day Tim Duncan was the best power forward. Well, I mean, you could make a case that Kevin Garnett should be in that category along with Dirk Nowitzki. Now, Dirk Nowitzki was a different type player, but at the same time, I don't think it should just all go to Tim Duncan, because KG and other power forwards were good, but to me, KG was one that stood out amongst any other power forward / center in the league. And like I said, Diabate has this way about him that reminds me a lot of KG. The same type of energy, same type of spirit, and he gets hyped up every time he makes a big play, and it really energizes his game more to allow him to keep giving the Clippers that energy throughout the game, throughout the whole game, and don't stop and don't let up. And I think that's what Ty Lue really spoke to, that really impressed him the most. And Ty Lue did say on SportsIllustrated.com, or he did mention that he will get more minutes. He also mentioned that he will probably go to the G League some, to keep his reps up and everything like that, because the Clippers got so much talent on their team, or so much depth, I should say. It's not enough room for everybody mentality all the time. But as me personally, I'm just saying this now. I don't really think they should send him back to the G League. I think they should just keep him right there on the bench and let him play when his number is called. And I need Ty Lue to call his number a lot more often than not, because, you know, when you look at games like against the Kings where they lost by 27 points, you know, having somebody like him in there bringing that energy and that vibe, you know, sometimes you're going to lose like that. Sometimes, you know, games are, you know, they just end up the way they do and there's nothing you could do about it. But at the same time, when you have somebody high energy like him who can bring, you know, a different type of presence to a team, and a very high motor type guy like that, he can get a team going and get up their spirit in the middle of a game like that, and they can pull off a victory at times where the Clippers might not even know how they done it. But, you know, having somebody like him on the team and in his type of, you know, energy, it really goes a long way. And that's what I kind of thought about Hartenstein last year when the Clippers had him. He kind of brought a different type energy, you know, for the Clippers. The only problem with that, they didn't have Kawhi and PG. And then on top of that, you know, regardless, I think Diabate is a better player, or he will be a way better player than Isaiah Hartenstein will ever be. Isaiah Hartenstein is really, I mean, he's always going to be a role player, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I can actually see this kid, Diabate, being a little bit more than a role player if he's given the opportunity. Now, of course, that's going to be debatable because, as I said, there's a lot of talent on this team. There's a lot of depth on this team. So he definitely understands his role. He definitely understands, you know, what he's there for. But, you know, futuristically, I'd say him and Brandon Boston, they definitely need to keep their eyes and sights on those two players specifically. And you can throw Amir Coffey in there too. But to me, those 2 or 3 players, it needs to be the Clippers' future, even after Kawhi and PG, if you ask me, because I just see a lot in those players specifically. And those young guys really bring it every time they're on the floor. And as I said, you know, they all have skill in different ways. You know what I'm saying? They all can really contribute at a high level if they're given the opportunity. We've seen Brandon Boston have, you know, a couple 27 or 30 point games last year where I think he had a 27-point game where he showed, you know, his type of talent offensively. You know, we've seen Amir Coffey have a couple 30-point games last year as well, where he showed that he's not just somebody on the bench. He's somebody who can contribute, which is the reason why he's getting more minutes now this year. And Diabate is showing that he's not somebody that needs to be passed back and forth to the G League. He's showing that he needs to be somebody consistently on your roster if you really want to have somebody who can, you know, give you more versatility on both ends of the floor, you know, offensively, well, defensively, more so than offensively, but still, he can definitely give you that switchability. He definitely brings that edge, and he's definitely athletic as you know what. I mean, so that athleticism that he has, along with his high spirit and his energy, and the fact that he can, you know, defend on the other end, he has a fearless mentality. Well, there you go. That's more or less the reason why you should keep him on the bench and put him and give him minutes instead of sending him back and forth to the G League. Understandably so. I know why they send him back and forth to the G League, but I don't want to see him go back and forth. I want to see more of him in the games, because I think him with Kawhi and PG and John Wall, and you throw somebody on the floor like, you know, Robert Covington or somebody like that, or, you know, Marcus Morris, give or take, if the lineup ever switches to something like that, then now you're looking at a team where it's like, hold on, defense on top of energy, on top of presence, offense, you know, with Kawhi and PG, high point guard play with John Wall. I mean, that is a recipe for success, if you ask me, if they can get this kid up to speed. And like I said, you know, he's going to make some mistakes and things like that, but I definitely think the Clippers need to give him more opportunities, because I think the more they actually watch him play, the more opportunities they give him, it's just going to be undeniable for them to keep giving him minutes consistently, because when people have an energy, or a player has an energy about them like that, it really can't go unnoticed. And as I said, they will be a damn fool for not giving this kid the opportunity, because I can see it all over him, what he can do and how, you know, infectious he really can become with this team, especially if he's playing defense at a high level like that. Because there again, now the Clippers actually found another guy on their roster that they can use and switch from 1 to 5. They already got Kawhi and PG who could switch between 1 to 1-5 defending somebody. Now you got Diabate. Oh, and then on top of that, you got Robert Covington. And then on top of that, you also still have the old veteran who's still good, Nicholas Batum. So now they just found another guy on their roster who can do the same type of thing, switch from 1-5 defensively. So that's basically another weapon in their favor. And on top of that, he really needs to be playing behind Zubac, if you ask me. So hopefully they make that happen, and hopefully Zubac can keep playing the way he's been playing too, because if he does, and they can put Diabate behind him and maybe throw Moses Brown in there in between time, well, wow. I mean, you're talking about a hella defensive team. So defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. That was the notion, or that's what I was always told when it comes to sports. So if that's the notion, and that's really actually true, which I do believe it is, you add somebody like him, now you're giving yourself another defensive piece where if you throw him in the mix of a 7-game series, he could be a secret weapon that other teams are not expecting, that can give you the overwhelming advantage. And as I said, if you're stopping people on defense, your offense will definitely come. And having Kawhi and PG, that's not going to be hard, because those two players are dynamic offensively when they're healthy. And along with all the other talent the Clippers have, they're just dynamic all the way around. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check out my other videos if you haven't. Also, please like, subscribe if you haven't done that as well. And hey, till next time.